From Sigma Woman, this is the Business for Aligned Women podcast. I'm your host, Clara McKay, your aligned business coach and advocate for all things showing up for your vision. This is a no BS space for brave-hearted women who are actually craving change, not just talk. I'm dedicated to bringing women's visions into reality, equipping women with all they need to build an abundant future, and shutting down all of the ways that you keep yourself small. Here, we're all about a women-centered approach, non-negotiable value alignment, and making bank without compromising your well-being. Each week, I'll be helping you to let go of shitty, limited mindset, comparison, overthinking, excuses that are holding you back, and feeling lost in biz, so that you can step into doing business in a way that feels good, step into total self-alignment, unshakable confidence, and to start taking direction on your vision. You will become the kind of woman who shows up for her dreams consistently, takes up space without question, and is making much more money and impact than she ever imagined. Just by making our time together your weekly ritual, you're already one step closer to your most aligned and abundant future. We're into month 2 of the year, well and truly into it. We're almost into the first quarter of the year, and I wanted to do a little call out. If you haven't planned your whole year yet and you want to have a business that does well, you need to do that now, okay? Stop faffing about. You need to know when you're going to be launching things, when you're going to need to work on them, when you're going to need to take breaks, what content you should be doing every month for the rest of this year. And it's actually not that much of a big deal, and it's not that hard. Have a couple of tools that can help you with that. And the first one is free. It's my end of year review workbook. If you haven't planned your year ahead and you haven't reflected on last year, I strongly suggest you grab this free workbook, work through it, look at the answers that you come up with honestly, and plan according to the information that you get in those answers. My other resources, one is really, really affordable Notion business planner. It's a 12-month planner. It will take you through all of your launches, at least the themes for your content, your finances, your financial goals, your product suite, your major dates of the year. It has space to come up with content ideas and look at your vision, your impact statement, all of that kind of stuff, that it's all under one hub. And that's, I don't know, I think it's like $18 or something. And you can infinitely reuse that. You can duplicate it year after year after year. And it's what I personally use in order to plan my business. But we're going to go through some reflection points that are from that free workbook. So if you're like, I can't bother doing this, you can just go and download that. And I'm also going to tell you a couple of things that I think you need to have in order to set yourself up for the most abundant financially and community-wise year in business that you possibly can have. You may want to get out pen and paper. You may want to pause this and do this later when you have a bit more time to yourself, or you might just grab the notes app in your phone. I often have lots of notes in my phone from podcasts. We're going to go through 3 questions together, and then I'm going to share those little prompts and ideas. My first question is, if you look at the last 12 months in your business, what worked? What systems really made you feel supported? What products sold very well? What kinds of content really had a good result, people really engaged with? And commit to doing more of this in the next 12 months. These 2 questions are basic that it almost seems ridiculous that I have to say them, but we do have to sit down and look at this, because I think it's just really natural as humans that we do something, we get comfortable with it, and we just keep doing it despite the outcome. And again, it's that saying, continuing to do the same thing but expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. Yes, let's not be there and doing that in 2024. The first question, it's a positive one. What worked? Acknowledge all of that. The second one is what has not worked. And I ask you to be very real here. Don't kid yourself. Don't fuck around. Like, what really didn't work this year? And it might be something as simple as like the supportive systems and structures. So many of my clients end up hiring cleaners After we put together their schedule, they'll hire a cleaner, they'll hire a gardener, they'll hire a nanny because they just realize that this goal that they have is not possible in the current context and support systems that they have. Are there support systems or structures that you need in order to make this possible for yourself? Don't kid yourself. If you have said that every Friday you were going to do business development work or you're going to finish some course and it's a year later and you haven't done that, you probably need to look at not only your own internal discipline, but what's the context here? What's going on? What's getting in your way of doing that? And is there a way that you can support yourself more? What products sold really well and what products didn't sell at all? Like maybe they didn't sell at all or they just are making little money, or you feel like you're screaming into the void when you talk about them. No one's interested in them. No one's giving you good feedback on them. And I would ask you to remove them from your product suite. Just get rid of them. If they're not selling, there's no point having them there confusing people. And obviously with this question, this list that you come up with, commit to doing less or none of the things that we just came up with, as well as content. What forms of content have not been working? What platforms, what formats? Is there certain things that you've been doing, but it's getting like no reception whatsoever? Please stop doing that. Women really often persist with things that they can see and they have the data that it's not working, and they build resentment within their business because of that. Now, of course, there's this thing of like you have to show up and keep showing up even though it hasn't started working yet. But I would say only for a maximum of 3 months. And then at that 1 or 3 month point, you should be reviewing it and adjusting yourself according to the data that you get. Don't do the same thing for a year, hoping that it's just going to all of a sudden start working at some point. The last question that I have for you, and this is a fun one, is I want you to shake your body or go for a run or jiggle about, do a little dance, literally, and then sit down in front of your computer and open up your website and your social medias and imagine that you are a brand new client who is looking for your service, and look at your website and your social media. And I ask you specifically, how obvious is it what you do and who you're for? This is called your messaging. This is what messaging means, all right? And it's very important for it to be wildly obvious and clear what you do and who you're for in order for your business to be successful. Now, I'm not perfect at this. I struggle with this. I have my visual artist come in and jiggle things up. I have my writer and my poet come in and jiggle things up and make it nice and floral and fancy. And it goes into a mess. And every 6 months, I have to fix it. That is reality, okay? That you will probably have to do that, especially if you're a highly creative person. You will probably have to keep reining yourself back in, because one of the biggest issues I see is that people are close to their business and they've tried to make it poetic and floral, and they've tried to look and sound super smart. And what's actually happened is it doesn't make any sense to anyone other than them. I've had clients who I've been working with them for 8 weeks and I still don't fully understand their business. And if I've dedicated 8 hours to learning about your business and I don't understand it, sweetheart, it's not clear enough. No one's going to give you 8 hours to understand if they should pay you. Have a look at it. Is it completely obvious? Is it completely clear what you do and who you're for? And make it as clear and simple and obvious as you possibly can. And once it becomes successful, maybe you invite in more of that poetry. Maybe you invite in more of that ethereal kind of quality, but not at the start of building a business for sure. Those are my 3 questions. And if those 3 questions kind of brought anything up for you, you will probably get a lot from the free workbook. Why not download it? It's there for you. You can do it again next year. You'll own it forever. Jump into the show notes and download that free workbook to work through. If you have any big brainwaves, I love to hear them. Please send me a DM about them. Let's move on to a couple of other points that I think will really help you make sure that this is a good year for you. The next one is to make sure that your finances are on point. What do I mean by that? I mean getting a bookkeeper and an accounting system and an accountant. No more Google Sheets, accounting system. No, 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 no. When you do that shit, you are telling the universe that you're scrappy and that you should have a scrappy bank account to align with that. If you're serious about this, take yourself seriously, pay $20 a month and get an accounting system. You can get a bookkeeper for less than $200 a month, and that money, you're going to see more of it because it's not taxed. It's going to come off your taxable income. It's going to stretch further than if you had tax money in your bank account. Okay. Do all of that. Understand how to read a P&L and do that every month. If those things are all totally new to you, you probably need to hire an accountant and pay them to explain them to you. I can explain some of those things, and I do with my clients. Stop being scared of your finances, and you need to be looking at not only what's coming in, but also what's going out. And if you can't tell that and you don't have any way to project how much money you're going to get over the next 6 to 12 months, then you need to look at that stuff. And that says that your finances need to be a bit of a priority. Ensure that you have a yearly plan. Yes, 12 months in advance. What products are you selling? What products are you offering? What are you going to be working on? What blogs are you going to be writing about? All of these things should be loosely set up 12 months in advance. And I do have my Notion yearly business planner that will help you do all of that. And of course, as you're doing that yearly plan, make sure you prioritize time off, time to rest, time for self-care, time to do things that are allowing you to live your values. Of course, I'm not saying make a plan and work yourself to the bone for 12 months. I don't do that. I wouldn't expect anyone else to do that. Okay, next one is break down your sales targets. All of you come to me and you have these massive financial lofty goals. I want to earn $100,000 this year, $300,000 this year, $500,000 this year. Lovely, lovely, lovely. If you don't actually know how many of your products it's going to take you to sell in order to get there, you're literally just speaking out of your butthole. Come back down to earth, put your feet on the ground. If you want to have a lofty goal of $500,000, I'm standing by you. Like, go for it. I think that's amazing. But you need to actually break down how many things do I need to sell each month, each quarter in order to get there. And then you need to hold yourself accountable to selling them. If you do that and it says you need to sell 300 courses a month, then on the third week of every month, you need to check in with how many of them you've sold, and you better be pushing it for the last week of the month to get to that number. If you're not doing any of that and you don't have monthly goals and you don't have sales targets and you don't know how many products it will take to get there, I guarantee you will never hit that goal. That is pie in the sky bullshit. And we need to stop living like this, because you are disempowering yourself and shooting yourself in the foot every single time you make a lofty goal and have no form of actioning it. Stop doing it. I see it all the time. And what happens is you get really low self-worth and really low self-esteem from continuing to do this to yourself. What generally happens when I get my clients to do this is they realize that those goals are not possible with their product suite. It makes them change their product suite that they're able to reach those goals more. Or they realize this year I probably won't hit that goal. I'm going to bring that goal down a little bit lower so that it's realistic for me to hit it. Because if you do hit it, that's going to give you self-confidence, and then that's going to keep you motivated, and it's just going to roll you on, and you'll probably hit that bigger goal the following year. Okay, sales target, holding yourself accountable to those goals, all of the goals that you have. How are you measuring your accomplishments, and how are you holding yourself accountable? This is my Capricorn, Virgo, South Node analness, but I have a literal PDF habit tracker, and I've tried them all, and this is the best one that works for me. And every day I open it and I cross off the things that I have done or I haven't done. And it's a sobering, humbling process to see that for 3 months, I said I was going to do this thing and I didn't do it one day. But if I didn't have that knowledge, I wouldn't change anything, and I'd just keep going towards a goal that I'm never, ever going to hit. Find a way to measure your goals and find a way to hold yourself accountable. The easiest way to hold yourself accountable is just to put a recurring event in your calendar every month or every quarter. If you actually look at your goals, where are they at? Did you achieve them? They're a recipe for low self-esteem. And if you have low self-esteem, it's going to have a negative flow and affect your business. If you feel bad about yourself, you're not probably going to film a TikTok. Doing all of these things is going to support you to feel more confident, more supported in your business, and you'll just keep showing up more, which will increase your level of abundance and possibilities and capacities for you. Some of these things might be a little bit hard ass and might be pushing on you a little bit, but honestly, sweetheart, they're the bare bones basics of having a business, and that's what you need to be doing in order to get where you want to be going. So take notes, take action, send me a message if you've actioned any of this stuff. If you can't tell, getting to share this time with you is something that I find truly sacred. I know that you're busy, but if you've taken anything away from our time spent together today, could you extend the love and share this episode with a friend, your community, or on your socials? Tag me so that I can see it and I can share it too. Or when you have a spare moment, leave the podcast a review. These things cost you nothing and will mean so much to me. Let's get this resource into the hands of more women visionaries and help us collectively move towards our most aligned way of being and doing business together.